Welcome to sunny Arizona. I'm Zoe Bentley, and here in the Sonoran Desert, two of the ideal careers to learn about are geology and astronomy. We have many grand geologic formations and unique, amazing rocks and minerals. We also have over 300 clear nights a year to observe space, and we have lots of telescopes to do just that. Combining these two amazing careers, I've researched exogeology, the study of geology on other planets. We're going to explore this today, meet a real exogeologist, and see firsthand that exogeology rocks. To become a professional exogeologist, one of the best places on Earth to study is the University of Arizona in Tucson, where their lunar and planetary lab was the first to manage a Mars mission. This is very impressive, and the rovers rock! On campus, there are several buildings to study geological sciences, learn to make telescopes, and inquire about the stars. Just what does an exogeologist look like? Do they dress like astronauts and go collect their samples in space? I found out that they come in all shapes and sizes, just like everyone. Now let's go meet Dr. Larry Lebofsky.
My name is Larry Lebofsky, and I am from the University of Arizona in the Planetary Science Institute, and I'm a planetary scientist. I study asteroids, comets, and other small bodies in the solar system, but also do a lot of education outreach to teachers and Girl Scouts.
So, tell us a little bit about what you do.
In the past, before I got more involved with education, I studied asteroids, I studied comets, I studied the rings of Saturn, and also some of the smaller planets in the solar system.
That's really
like
neat.
Mercury, Pluto, which was a planet. I studied it.
Cool.
And now mostly what I do is education with teachers, with Girl Scout leaders, basically taking my knowledge of astronomy and passing it on to teachers who can then pass it on to their students.
Oh, that's really great. How did you get interested in astronomy and geology?
When I was a kid, we lived in an area that actually had fairly good dark skies, and so I just got interested in looking outside at night and bought myself a telescope and started making some observations and bought a camera and put it on, and so took some pictures, and I decided when I graduated from high school that's what I wanted to be. So I went on to college and then eventually got my PhD in astronomy.
Neat. Did you get any good pictures?
I did. I was not a very successful picture taker. It was back in the days when we used film, and a lot of good clear nights were also very, very cold. So it wasn't very kind on the film.
So what are you currently working on?
Currently, right now, some of the things I do is I go with a couple of friends of mine, people I work with, and we observe asteroids. There are telescopes that do what are called surveys of the sky, and they find asteroids that are coming very, very close to the Earth. And so they make an observation, they send it out to an international organization, and then people around the world then make the follow-up observations so that they can determine what their orbits are, because there are people who are concerned that some of these objects may actually hit the Earth. So what we do is make sure that we know what their orbits are like.
Well, how big are they usually? Would it hurt if they did hit?
Most of them are sort of medium-sized, maybe, if I can use metric system, a kilometer down to maybe 10, 15, 20 meters in diameter. And none of the ones that we have observed have hit the Earth. Only one object has ever been observed with a telescope before it hit the Earth, and that was about 1.5 years ago.
That's really neat. What is a typical day like for you?
A typical day right now, because of where I am in my career, I'm semi-retired, I guess is what you'd call me, and a lot of what I'm doing these days is sitting in front of a computer doing a variety of things, writing up educational materials that we can use with the teachers and the Girl Scout leaders. My wife and I edit a magazine, Meteorite Magazine, so people send us articles and we edit them and publish them. So that's a lot of what I do. And I also answer questions. So people send me questions, just like you're asking me now, something about astronomy, something about what I can use in my classroom. Those are the kinds of things I do primarily these days.
So, what are some examples of projects you've worked on before?
Back when I first came to the University of Arizona, I studied asteroids, and so I studied them in both visible light and what's called infrared light, where you measure the heat that comes from them. And the visible and light that's just a little bit beyond visible light, you can study what they're made of. So one of the big things I did was to find out that many of the dark asteroids actually have water on them. It's water in the rocks. So it's not like pools of water or anything like that. So that was one of the things I did. And the other thing I did by looking at the heat that they give off did some of the first measurements of the sizes of some of the asteroids.
How long have you been a planetary astronomer?
I've been a planetary astronomer as a profession for about 35 years, but I started graduate school almost 40 years ago. And it's about 40 years ago. And when I was a graduate student, I worked mostly on studying what Saturn's rings were made out of.
What is the best part of your job?